Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to yet another video. I'm going to tell you something about my observation that I have had lately, well, for the last couple of years, and you have to tell me in the comments down below if you agree with me or not. It is concerned with reading, and I'm not even going to delve into prose, because not many people do read prose. Not many people have ever read prose, but I'm talking about comic books. People don't read comic books. There are three kinds of people. There is the collector, there is the pretender, and there is the reader. Now, let me elaborate upon that. I am a part of some groups on social media, like on Facebook, of comic book collectors and collectors of collected editions of comic books, like omnibuy, trade paperbacks, and hardcovers. And people post, of course, their hauls and their collections on the wall, and you look at their collections, and most of the books, most of the hardcovers are sealed, and they are even admitting that, oh yes, look, I have bought like 100 books in the last year. What should I read first? What the hell? And then you realize that they haven't even read the most iconic books in the history of, well, the comic book production. They haven't even read Batman Year One. They haven't read any X-Men books from the 80s and the 90s and the early odds, and they are asking questions if they can read a comic book that was published last year without knowing anything about X-Men. And you see in the picture of their collection, collected editions of X-Men starting in the 70s. What the hell? I mean, why are you buying the books when you are not going to read them? Alright, so they are the collectors. Alright, I don't really agree with that, with having like hundreds of books and not reading them, because that's that's a crime in my eyes. You won't see hundreds of books in my collection, because I read the book, and if I know that I'm going to reread it in the future, I keep it. If I read the book and I know I'm never going to read it again, I just sell it or give it away, because it takes space. From time to time, I will read a comic book digitally. So there's the collector, and then there's the pretender, and there are many of them, especially on social media, on Twitter. And these are the people who like to cause mayhem, they like to cause carnage, they bitch about inclusion, representation, diversity. They are very mean, and all they do is that they post posts and tweets all day, every day, about the fact that this comic book superhero should be a person of color, even though this particular superhero has been white for over 60 years. They want the LGBTQ plus ABC la-di-da representation in comic books, and when they get one, they celebrate it for like 5 minutes, and then they move on to insult other people. They even went as far as insulting comic book creators on Twitter, like the most recent case with Scott Campbell, when there was a fan who fixed, quote unquote, a famous cover of J. Scott Campbell, because he thought that Mary Jane Watson, Spider-Man's girlfriend and a wife, was way too sexualized on the cover. And the fixing, quote unquote, of this particular drawing was bad. He didn't fix it, or they, because we really don't know from the Twitter handle if the fan, quote unquote, was man or or a woman. So they fucked it up. They actually drew a worse looking image. So these are the pretenders, people who don't read comic books, people who just talk about bullshit, people who just like to cause mayhem, but they don't spend a nickel of their money on comics. And then there's the reader. And a common reader is a person who loves to read, in this case, comic books. This common reader might have a vast knowledge of the DC universe, the Marvel universe, the Image universe, the Dark Horse universe, and other independent stuff. The reader doesn't care if the work of art comes from one of the big two or from the great and awesome Comicsgate creators. The reader just wants to read good stories. The reader does not care about politics. The reader does not care about sociopolitics. The reader does not care about unimportant, irrelevant things. The reader just wants to read. The reader just wants to escape from reality. Just enjoy a little bit of escapism. And there are very few people like that. Most of the people belong to the first two groups. Either the collector or the pretender. Sometimes they are both. So what do you think about that, my friends? Let me know in the comments down below if I'm right or wrong. And that will be all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and bye.